Welcome back to Houston Life. National Denim Day is part of a global movement to raise awareness and support survivors of sexual abuse. It also challenges victim blaming and reminds us that what someone wears is never an invitation for harm. Fort Bend Women's Center CEO Josh Brown joins us along with board member and longtime radio personality Michele Fisher with more on their work to support survivors every single day. It's great to see you both. And I love this concept of Denim Day. Michele, so Denim Day started after a court case where a woman, a victim of sexual violence, was blamed because of what she was wearing?
Absolutely. That was the start of the campaign. The Italian Supreme Court overturned that rape conviction, saying that because she was wearing tight jeans, she must have assisted her attacker in getting the jeans off, thereby consenting. And the women in Parliament were so outraged that they show up to work the next day all wearing denim in solidarity with the victim. Right? You shake your head because it's insane, but it's even still happening to this day. Clothing, we like to say clothing is never consent. And we're really trying to have this conversation around the victim blaming, which still goes on.
This one case alone enrages me because it is so unfair. But as you just said, so often when someone becomes the victim of sexual violence, the first question people might say, well, what was she wearing? How is that relevant? How is that relevant? But that is why you both are here, because we need to start this conversation, continue the conversation. And Josh, in many cases, those who experience sexual violence, the cases go unreported.
That's correct. They absolutely do. And that could be because of the shame surrounding sexual assault. It could also be for fear. I mean, a lot of folks that are dealing with this are in harm's way, and they fear that it could happen again if they come forward, or they feel like they could be judged. They feel like they can be ridiculed. They feel like they could be asked, why were you wearing that? Or why were you in that situation?
Which again is just totally wild that anyone would blame a victim. Because so many of these cases go unreported, how do we really get the data on how frequently this is happening? And I'm guessing it's happening much more frequently in all communities than anyone would like to admit.
That's right. It happens in all communities, and it's very difficult to get the clear data, precisely because a lot of times these things happen. A lot of times the perpetrators are known to the victim.
Someone they know.
Exactly.
Like a neighbor, a relative.
Relative, and so it can be, it opens up, when you report it, opens up a whole nother issue of family dynamics, of neighbor dynamics, things like that.
Michele, what is a potential solution? I mean, obviously, this is pervasive. Again, this happens in every community, whether people want to acknowledge this or not. And many of us perhaps know victims of sexual violence, but maybe we don't know that they are actually survivors.
Absolutely. There could be people who are watching today that have never
shared their story.
Exactly. Or reported what happened to them because of the shame. Tell me your question again.
Well, the solution, I mean, because for
raising
many
awareness.
people, they're afraid to start that conversation.
So raising awareness on a day like today, like Denim Day, is really important, but giving people confidence to know that they're not alone. That's why the Fort Bend Women's Center is here, not just for domestic violence, but also sexual assault victims. We can help in so many ways. If you call our hotline, we have people who are willing to start this conversation with you so that you don't have to suffer alone.
Yeah, and that hotline plays a critical role because let's say maybe someone out there wants to talk to someone. They don't know how to start the conversation. Maybe they feel strange about talking to a best friend or a relative. They can call, Josh, the 24/7 hotline at the Fort Bend Women's Center. They can talk to someone anonymously.
That's right. Talk to someone anonymously. You can also go on the website and you can chat if you're not able to get to a phone. But you can ask the questions. You can ask those questions. Is this abuse? You can say, what do I do in this situation? How do I proceed? How do I keep myself safe? Because sometimes it's not the time to leave.
Right.
Sometimes it's a very dangerous time and you can't leave. So it's doing that safety planning and figuring out how do I go about this and where do I go next.
Well, and we also know, right, that statistics for sexual violence and domestic violence, sometimes they overlap, right? Where you are being abused by someone you know, maybe it's a boyfriend, a partner, a spouse, and getting away can be dangerous. And on average, it takes survivors multiple attempts to leave that very bad situation, right? That's where your team steps in.
Exactly. We can kind of help people guide them through, and if you're not going to leave, how do you stay safe in that situation? So any of those questions, resources, where do I go? What do I do? Even if you don't want to stay in this area and you want to get out of this area, we can help with those resources.
We're seeing some of your team members, by the way. So this was just earlier today, part of your team wearing their denim. Awareness, Michele, you touched on this. This is something that just by simply wearing denim, maybe we start the conversation. Maybe you casually mention it to the people you love and hope that they will spread the word.
Absolutely. We hope that Denim Day for a victim makes them feel supported. Even though they're quiet about it, they're silent about, it's not public knowledge. We're supporting you. We're here. We see you. And yeah, Denim Day, there's still half a day left. So there's still an opportunity to get dressed today. Maybe you've got dinner with your partner. Maybe you're heading out to happy hour. Throw on your denim, take a picture, put it up on social, tag the Fort Bend Women's Center, hashtag Denim Day. Let people know that you're saying we stand with victims, with survivors of sexual assault.
Hashtag
Denim Day, yes.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
Michele, you have such a familiar voice. 30 years on the radio. I know our viewers know and love you. You've been on the board for Fort Bend Women's Center for 5 years now.
Yes.
What attracted you to this work? Because being a board member is a commitment.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of work.
It's a mission that's just really important to me. I know a lot of people personally. There's victims of sexual assault or domestic violence come from so many different backgrounds. People assume that, and there's so many different variations of abuse, right? Mental abuse, emotional abuse, financial abuse, spiritual abuse, and then of course, physical abuse. The mission spoke to me, what the Fort Bend Women's Center is doing in our community, and it reaches all the way into Houston. We do a lot in Houston as well. It just was too important to ignore. I wanted to be part of it. I wanted to be a part of the change.
Well, you're doing it. Josh, final thoughts. We're tight on time. If someone out there has been in a terrible situation, they're trying to get out, what is the first thing that they could do today?
First thing they can do today is call us. Call our hotline, get involved, ask those questions, figure out what your next step may be to protect yourself and get out of that danger, get out of that violence. It may not be today, but it very well could be tomorrow, and we can help you with that.
Yeah, and a life without violence is out there waiting for you. Josh Brown, Michele Fisher, thank you so much for stopping by. Denim Day.
Yeah.
Hashtag Denim Day. We're here for it. Fort Bend Women's Center again. You can find them online. It's not too late to put on your denim. Go out tonight. Raise awareness. For more resources, look for the Scene on Houston Life section of our website, houstonlife.tv. We will link all that information, so please spread the word.